So this is the second half of the lesson that we started yesterday. This is lesson 1-3B, and today you're going to need your notes and your pencil, but you're also going to need a sheet of paper and eventually a parent. Our goal again is to write powers as products and evaluate them. We did that yesterday. We wrote things like 3 to the 4th power, which equals 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, 27 times 3 is 81. And so today we're going to be writing expressions. Those are math problems, and we're going to be using exponents and expanded form using exponents. But before we begin, we need to remember two things. One is that any number to the first power is just that number again, and any number to the 0 power equals 1. Okay, so let's begin. So right now we're going to be writing numbers as powers of 10. This only works with numbers that are 10 based. So in order for this to work, you need to understand that a 10 to the 6th power really means a 10 written out 6 times. That's our base and that's our exponent. It really is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And 10 to the 6th power equals 1 million. 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1,000, 1,000 times 10 is 10,000, 10,000 times 10 is 100,000, and 100,000 times 10 is 1 million. It's a lot of multiplication, but there's a trick when you're using powers of 10. If you have a number 10 to any exponent, this exponent tells you how many zeros are going to be in your answer. This says that my number is going to have 6 zeros. Let's count. Here's my number with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. 10 to the 6th power is 1 million, or a number with 6 zeros. Let's try again, but now let's try to move backwards. So if we have a million and we want to write it as a power of 10, we write the 10, because it's a power of 10, and then we count how many zeros there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 10 to the 6th power. So here again, we have a number. We want to write in powers of 10. So we write down 10, and then we count how many zeros there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's going to be to the 9th power. A billion is really 10 to the 9th power. It's a 10 with 9 zeros. Let's try one over here. What if we had 1,000 and we wanted to write in the power of 10? Again, we would write with a 10, and then we count our zeros. 1, 2, 3. It's going to be to the 3rd power. Let's make sure. 10 to the 3rd power, 10 cubed is really 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100, and 100 times 10 is 1,000. So it does work out. What I want you to do now is I want you to write 10,000 in a power of 10, and you're going to show me tomorrow. So in your notes, you're going to write a number 4, write 10,000, and you're going to write it in a power of 10. Remember, that means you need to have a 10, count how many zeros are, and that's your exponent. So now we're going to move on to expanded form using exponents. We talked about expanded form already in expanded form using addition, where we said things like 319 is really a 300 plus a 10 plus a 9. Well, now we're going to do expanded form using exponents. So here I have the number 64,312. And we want to use exponents. So we write our first number, 6, times 10, and then we count how many places there are after the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be times 10 to the 4th power. Because 6 times 10 to the 4th power is really just 60,000. Because look how many zeros there are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Then we're going to add it to our next number. Our next number is a 4. So we say it's 4 times 10, and we count how many numbers are behind it. 1, 2, 3 to the 3rd power. Because really, that's a 4 with 3 zeros behind it. 60,000, 4,000. 60,000, 4,000. Then we do our next number, 3. 3 times 10 to the 2nd power, because there's 2 numbers behind it. Then we add it to our next number, which is a 1. 1 times 10 to the, how many numbers are behind it? Just 1 number. Then we're going to do our 2, our last number. It's going to be 2 times 10 to the 0 power. It's the 0 power because there's no numbers behind it, And also remember, what is 10 to the 0 power? 10 to the 0 power is really just a 1. And 2 times 1 is just a 2. And that's what we want. So let's try again now. Let's try again with 806. So we're going to write our first number 8. And we're going to multiply it times 10 to the second power, or 2, because there's 2 numbers behind it. Now I look, do I need to use my 0? We don't need to put our 0 in. We can just skip it. Instead, we'll do our last number, which is a 6. 6 times 10 to the, how many numbers are behind it? None. So it's going to be 6 times 10 to the 0 power. Let's make sure that's true. 8 times 10 squared, or 8 times 100, is 800. And 6 times 10 to the 0 power is 6 times 1, or 6. And is 800 plus 6, 806 what we started with? Yes, it is. So the last one we're going to do together is 5,310. So again, we start with our first number, 5, times 10 we count, 1, 2, 3, times 10 to the third power. Then we're going to do our 3. Do 3 times 10 to the second power, because there's 2 numbers behind it, times 1, 1 times 10 to the first power, and then we do not do anything for the last one because it's a 0. So what I want you to do tonight is I want you to try this one, 315. I want you to write that in expanded form using exponents. You would start with the 3, 3 times 10 to the what power, then 1 times 10 to the what power, and 5 times 10 to the what power. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to erase all of this, and you're going to get your piece of paper out, and I'm going to put some problems on here. What you need to do is you need to take this paper, write down all the problems that I'm going to write down, and you're going to teach your parents how to do this. After you teach them how to do it, I want them to solve the problems, and I want you to correct it. So the first one I want you to do is I want you to teach them what is a base. So you're going to write which is the base and which is the exponent. And you're going to write down 6 squared. And I want you to teach them which is which and have them mark it. Then I want you to have them solve this problem. You need to teach them what this means. This means 5 times 5 times 5. Then I want you to write this as a power of 10. I want you to teach them how to write this number as a power of 10, and then write it on paper, and then you correct it. And the last one I want you to do is I want you to teach them how to write this in expanded form using exponents. You need to teach them how to write this number in expanded form using exponents, and then you check that they do it right. We have a bonus problem today for bonus points. It's sort of a riddle. What is the only number that when it's to the 0 power, the first power, and the second power, it equals 1? So what's the number here? What is the only number that when it's to the 0 power, the first power, and the second power, it always equals 1? If you can figure that out, write it on a piece of paper and you get bonus points. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to teach your parents how to do this, correct their work, and bring in your notes and this tomorrow. I'll see you then.